Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to talk to Travis today. First of all, my name is Angie. I'm a psychiatric drug withdrawal consultant and healing coach. And I just love talking to people and bringing you conversations that are important to me, that are important to our community. Today, we are talking to Travis. And before I go into his bio, I just want to say, like, doing this work, I get to see a lot of suffering, a lot of people struggling through injury from benzodiazepines, from antidepressants, from antipsychotics. But I also get to see the strength of the human spirit, the resilience that our bodies have, the amazing healing capacity that our body has. And I get to see great acts of love. So today I'm bringing you the story of Travis and Shelly, which is one of those just beautiful stories of love and healing through support and unconditional love. So that is why I wanted to bring you Travis today. So Travis, welcome.
Thanks for having me. And I hope my story or my and Shelly's story can help people. You know, it's quite a journey. It's, I think we've learned a lot, and I've learned a lot during this process that hopefully I can help, somebody out there. And like I said, thank you for having me, and thanks for everything you do. I mean, you're a blessing, and so are all the coaches out there. It is hard to do what you guys do. So thank you.
It is. So let me read Travis's bio really quick, and then he's going to tell you more about the story. But Travis is the loving caregiver of his beautiful wife, Shelly, who was injured by the benzodiazepine Ativan. She took it as prescribed. His wife is in a protracted withdrawal, which is kind of what we call like after 18 months. She's, been suffering for a while. And Travis has learned many things, including what it means to truly love and be there for someone that is suffering through one of the hardest challenges of her life. Travis feels that what he's learned along the way can help others maneuver through the difficult process of caring for someone in benzodiazepine withdrawal, or B.I.N.D, benzodiazepine induced neurological dysfunction. So let's jump right into our conversation. Travis, can you tell us a little bit about like what happened to Shelly and what brought you all to this point in time?
So it's really a story of discovery. We had no idea what was going on, like almost everybody, that you learn along the way. But she had lost her mother about, now it's been 6-7 years ago, but in 2015 she lost her mom, and just her mom was her best friend. I mean, they were tight. Her mom was also the glue that kept the family together. And her dad was not that he was widowed for he didn't have his other half, and we didn't know how that would be, if he'd take care of himself, he'd do his laundry. So there was automatically the dynamics in the family changed, and she was stressed, she was scared, she didn't know. So with that being said, a lot like you said with medicating normal, she went to the doctor, and instead of a doctor saying, it's a normal grieving process, you got to get through it and you'll be fine, and it's hard, but because of the unknowns and everything, the stress, she was prescribed Ativan, and she literally for 4 years took it intermittently as needed, as prescribed. Take it if you're going to go see your dad, or take it if you're stressed and you can't sleep. But and so she did, and literally, 4 years later, she started having problems staying on the highway. Let's take the scenic route. And I didn't care. So it was weird. We drove all the way to, Tennessee. We drove rode a train for our honeymoon. But hey, I mean, we'll do it, so we started avoiding busy highways. We would go to a restaurant, and all of a sudden she's like, can we go get our food to go? It's just weird things. And we're like, well, and again, we didn't know, but we knew it wasn't, we had a new marriage. We were happy. Like I said, she still to this day helps me with my business. We're really connected. So it was just different, and we were worried, what is going on? And then she had BPPV, where she had she had an attack where she was spinning in bed, and that scared us. So now we're like, what is going on? So we, at that point, we were worried that maybe she had a brain tumor or something like that. So we went to the ER locally, and we said she had a migraine. It was more of an aura, like she was patterns in her vision. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we're going to give you a a migraine cocktail. And what that was liquid Benadryl and Ativan, or I'm sorry, Reglan. I'm sorry. So when she got that instantly, she had the urge to jump out, pull her IV out. She wanted to leave the hospital. She stopped the push. So she literally only got half the Reglan and half the Benadryl, but it was instant. She had a change, fair instantly. So, I mean, so we were like, wow, you're injured with Reglan. And and it didn't go away. The next day, pacing, akathisia, and with, she still was having sleeping issues, but it now was like hyper, is on steroids. So she found a Reglan website right away about the horrors of Reglan and off-label uses, which was this. And she found a support group on that, still not knowing the Ativan was actually causing the original symptoms. She was just dealing with what is going on now. We're scared to death. Of course, the medical world is telling us, oh, it'll go away. It shouldn't do this to you. It's only temporary, but here we are years later. So she just started researching, and then, like 6 months in, maybe 9 months in, she found out about benzo withdrawal and tolerance withdrawal. And then we started reading, and again, anything she could send me, I read. I mean, we learned so much. So
what you thought, so let me rephrase that just to bring people on board, whoever come in late. But I think in our community, there'll be people that pop in that say, oh, I just take a benzo as needed. I just take it a few times a month. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? There's this misunderstanding. Right. And I think that's an element of safety. Like, we think, if I don't take a medication every day, I'm not addicted to it, then I'm safe. You know what I mean? So to hurt you and Shelly, I mean, why would you think I took a drug a couple times a month, it would injure me or like cause something that could make me predisposed to akathisia? Like, what is even that,
Right.
So,
and then you learn the kindling aspect. I mean, and we were like amazed by, it doesn't matter. You take one or two, you stop taking it, you're lucky that time. A month later, you have an issue and you want to take it. It's the kindling, and it's the receptors are getting, help with this drug, and it's messing up everything. So we found out she was in tolerance withdrawal, and that was it really is what caused the ER visit, which then caused the Reglan injury. So we look at it that she was damaged by two drugs. And so that's the story of how she got to, and then, like I said, it was all research, and anything she found to read, I read. I mean, that's important, because as a caregiver, you gotta get on board, and you gotta read and educate yourself, because if not, they feel alone, and they feel like it's already an invisible illness. You look normal. I mean,
Exactly.
And so she'd be like, you don't understand. So to understand, you really have to dig in and get into it, and know it's real right away, and know you're not going to get a lot of help from the medical world. And
that you believed her 100%. There wasn't like, you were like all in, like, what is this? Let me figure this out. I mean, you guys, Travis read books. Like, tell him all the books that you've read. Like,
I've read, of course, I actually have them here. So I've
do
read
you? Let me see.
Frederick's,
Bayless's book. Yep. Yeah, I've read that one too.
I read Jennifer Swankowski's The Waiting Room.
Yes.
So, so this was a little different, but I found the book about mild traumatic brain injuries, and it's more of a veteran's guide for like the VA. But that book had a lot of information about just the symptoms, and they're so common with like concussions, when your brain is damaged physically, and how it feels and heals, and versus how a medical injury or medicine injury, where you're having the same stress as a stress, light, driving is one of the hardest things to do. And so, I mean, but yeah, there are a lot of resources. Of course, I actually joined Benzo Buddies. So I joined as a caregiver. I mean, I had to get approved, but I got on, and I found some help on there. But again, it was more to read the stories, because again, at some point, stories start to trigger your loved ones. So
Yeah.
I could get on and read and see things, but I always, the things that would hook me is the healing and the power and the good stories, not the the scary stuff that you guys see, which,
Yeah.
timelines, scary things, how long is this going to take,
Yeah.
but I also joined, well, I mean, we've had pretty much every coach out there we've had sessions with. I think you discover a coach that works with, works for you in the time or what you need. It's like, it's funny how, or it's just that you get comfortable with their story and you think that you align with them or whatever. But
Whatever. Yeah. Everybody's.
we've talked to Michael Prevey, we've talked to Alyssa Frederick, we've talked to Dr. Jen, we've talked to David Powers, and then of course, Angela. So look, you do what you can to reassure that there's real healing out there. And so
Yeah. So take us to like the moments, like, I know this from working with people. Generally I don't see people on their best day of their life. They're in a lot of distress. They're like totally freaked out, revved up. They read something, they're having these really intense symptoms, and how do you work with that? Like when she totally spins out and freaks out, what do you do?
well, it was hard at first. This is where it really, the patience and, she joked around for a year where she's like, Melissa talks the way she talks for a reason.
Yeah.
She's got that soothing,
Grandmother,
almost
like calming,
motherly or
yes.
grandma. Yeah. That just in the cadence. And she's like, you need to be, like Mr. Rogers, you got to smile all the time. And, I'm like, you don't understand, we're in the middle of this. And I get mad and I get frustrated. And so, so she, patience. I have reminders. I have like, she literally had a lot of trouble driving, like not driving. I'm sorry. She has trouble driving. She really doesn't drive much, but even a passenger in a car. So when we're in a car, if she's having symptoms with bodiness or disequilibrium, she has a meltdown and I'd melt down right with her. Like, but now, meltdown, I would get angry. I shouldn't say meltdown, but now I have a reminder. I'm like a chauffeur. Like I put on a hat and I'm a different person. I can't get all bent out of shape. I try to, I get into a role where I'm like, okay, Miss Daisy, where to, or something.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking,
yeah, just very calm. And I try my best. I've done, it's not easy. I'm not telling you, that for years now that I was perfect. Oh my gosh, and she remembers every time I misstep because again, it's part of the healing process. She's scared and I used to take it personal. I used to take when she had a meltdown or she goes, you don't understand. You're not, you don't feel the pain I feel, or, you don't care. Well, we know we care, you got to take it as a grain of salt and know that it's not them talking. It's, a term that Angela uses is the neuroemotions. It's not really them. And as long as you can remember that, which isn't always easy, because again, you have your life, but you got to remember that if you have stress and you're scared, if you're mad or you're having stress, or if you're projecting that to them, all it is doing is ramping up their emotions, which they can't control. They can't, an animal runs out in front of you driving, everybody gets that, it stays for an hour or 2 hours with them. She explains it. It's like, that cortisol shot or that, it doesn't go away. So it takes a long time.
Yeah.
So
patience. Patience. Yeah. You're hitting on something really important here that I don't think we talk about in our community enough, but social interaction, human connection, even faces, like help you regulate your nervous system. And our nervous systems are so damaged from these medications that like you cannot regulate your emotions. So the caregiver or the spouse or the family member or me, I didn't have anyone, but I had a friend here and there, like once a month, she would come take me out or something to the grocery store or whatever. But that person is like your pillar, like you're the safe person, you're the emotional support animal, whatever you want to call it. But your job is to like regulate yourself to keep her as regulated as possible. So like we're co-regulating with each other at all times, so when you're angry, she gets angry, but when she is freaked out, it's going to be contagious to you. So like, I know me and you maybe haven't talked about this in detail, but like you know what I'm saying, right? So like
Right,
how have you, like you said, I don't get angry when she drives. I try to like stay calm and put my hat on.
right.
Okay, so talk about that, like co-regulation.
Well, actually, you mentioned how you had Reiki treatments, and how much it helped you. That just the fact that she touched you and you
Yeah,
transfer those energies.
yeah,
So I went online and I found some YouTube videos and I learned, simple Reiki treatments. So she swears by them now. I mean, we do them a couple times a day where I center myself and then I, use my hands and I help her and, I show her, I guess, what normal feels like. So um, that's a big thing. I mean, as far as we try to have fun when we can, when she feels up to it, we
yeah.
try to have fun. We try to remember, we were newly married, but we had an awesome marriage where she helped me with, I was diabetic, I was overweight. She had me eating right, losing weight. I had a staph infection she helped me with. So we just, we are very connected. And she helped me with my business. When she's healthy, would order, she designed logos, like even through this. So
Mhm.
anything that she can do to help, we celebrate it because again, it helps with the healing, it helps with the positivity. It just, so much of it is just, it's hard, and reassure healing, but also celebrate and,
Really a good one.
enjoy, when you see the glimpse of the loved one, and
Yeah.
remind them, you'll get so dark and it'll get so scary that you can't remember like the good days, and it's your job, you know to remember to tell, hey,
Love that.
just last week, remember we were at the park, we were walking, remember we were playing with our dog, and so that kind of reassurance and just reminding, because
You
that's part of
forget.
this injury too, is you'll swear you've never had a good day. You'll
Yeah.
swear that you never, I haven't been in a car in months. Well, no, in journaling, she journals every day, and it helps because even I'll forget things. And
Mhm.
so she journals, and I mean, we'll reflect on that just because we both sometimes lose time frames,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So I like that. Just the thought that the family members, the spouse, the supporters, whoever it is that you have in your life is like, is there to help you regulate, is there to remind you of the good times and the healing that you have experienced, is there to like, I know this is kind of a weird concept, but I do it a lot too. Like I see your sickness. I know it's there, but I am holding that health for you. Like I'm holding the healing. I know that
Mhm.
it's happening. I'm watching it happen. It's going to happen. And I'm here to remind you and to reassure you and to validate what you're feeling. And like, it takes a long time, as you know. How far off is she now? Like 3.5 or 4? I can't remember.
So from the Reglan injury, it'll be 4 years on May 19th or
Yeah.
18th.
So you've seen her heal this whole time, right?
Mhm.
Like you've seen all these things go away. And I think I've asked you before, like Shelly will forget, and I'll say Travis, because both, just so you know, both of them come to their sessions. So I get to see both of them. It's really fun.
Right.
But like I'll say, like, Travis, what's gone away? Oh yeah, this, and this. When Shelly forgets, he's there to say, look. So in some ways, you're kind of like a living coach, which is
Right.
good. You know what I mean?
Well,
But
we've been to enough of these sessions.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
but again, that if anybody out there, if you are a caregiver and you can sit in on these, it helps, because
So much.
even early on, Melissa will come up with a concept or say something, or any of the coaches actually, and it would be, what did they say? Or, she'll ask me, and then, because, you can't really tape them, you just try to remember what was said. And I'll be like, I think she meant this. And she'll be like, I thought she meant this. I go, well, it's something like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, because it's hard when, again, sometimes Zoom meetings, she's, sits and everything's fine. And she's with every, on every word, and sometimes she's sitting here and she feels like she's on a boat, and
Yes.
she's
You
like
can't concentrate at
hiding,
all.
sitting
Yeah.
here, and it's not comfortable. So I'm here try to remember.
To catch
So,
it. Yeah, and,
and
and I love couple sessions and family sessions just because I think the whole family should be involved if possible. again, I don't want to, I feel bad even saying that because I know a lot of people in our audience do not have a loved one, do not have a family member, or have unsupportive family members. I've seen them too. It's hard, but I always say, like, when there is family, like, and I said this to you guys very early on, Travis, like, this has the opportunity to either bring you closer together or to take you further apart. And I know your experience has been closer together. So can you kind of talk about that? Like, how has this experience maybe changed you?
Well,
Or
you
brought you closer?
actually stole some of my thunder early on when you introduced me, but it was the human spirit, the resiliency. I mean, even watching her heal is amazing, but then realizing what all of you, I mean, I see it all. I see all, you know, even your story is so inspirational. All the stories, the books, but then yeah, just the I mean, I've done things like I can cook from scratch just about anything. Our food, we're trying to stay away from MSG, any additives. So I can whip up almost anything. Or it's sort of something else that we do is we'll Google and look for recipes. We'll strip them down to very natural ingredients, and then we'll recreate it. And we you know, so just everything. I mean, but I have more empathy. I mean, I can't even imagine going through what you guys are going through, what Shelly's going through. So I mean, I was a caring person, but this just it just takes it to another level where you see the suffering, and we can't. I mean, I can't stop it. If I could, I would. If we were told, hey, you send her to this resort for $100,000, we'd figure out how to do it. And you know, but this is what we have to do. We have to do it, you know, a day at a time. And like I said, it's not easy. I'm not here to say, oh, this is the blueprint to do it right. But you know, the human spirit's amazing. We all heal, right? You will heal. So I'm here to remind her every day of that. But yeah, I've learned a lot. I've learned, you know, well, I mean, I've learned to ask for help. I mean, this is very humbling because I mean, I'm healthy, and it's still, you gotta ask for help. And, you know, if you can get it, I mean, but like I said, I know not everybody has, you know, I have, you know, coworkers that have helped me so much. We have family members who take care of, you know, her father, who we were worried about, you know, he's in great hands thanks to them. So, you know,
so many. So it's
so
made
you learn to be humble.
it's made you more humble, more loving, more patient, more empathy, more I don't know. I always think about, like, I've told this story a couple times, but I had a friend that was walking by my van one day, and he saw me crying because I was on a session with somebody, and he's like, I don't know how you do this work. You know, it's so emotional. I'm like, yeah, it's like, because you've experienced such great suffering, you can experience great love, you know, and your life kind of floats between the two. And I don't like that we had to learn it this way. You know what I mean? Like, nobody should be going through this. But, you know, in a way, I think I've said this to you before too, like, at the end of this, you get your wife back. You get, you know, like, you guys, I already know you're going to be, like, a year from now, you're going to be on cruises all the time or something. We'll never hear from you again. But, you know, like, because it's brought you closer together, it's, you know, it's not what any of us would choose or wish on our worst enemy. But I think there are, like, some gifts at the end. You know what I mean? When you
And again, a lot of your coaches talk about that. It's like, would I ever want to send my enemy through this? No, but it's an amazing journey when it's over. I mean, it's hell. I know, I see it, but you know.
Well, and you're seeing glimpses right now. Can you maybe share some of those? Like, you see glimpses as the healing progresses. You see she's coming back. There's life in her eyes. She's coming back. Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the first 8 months, 9 months, I mean, the fear in her face, once she had that Reglan injection, she went to zero emotions, and it was fear. You could just see it. And I mean, not that she didn't smile, but I didn't see that part of her for 8, 9 months. I mean, it was just, she was scared, and all you could do is, I mean, she had I mean, I don't want to go into symptoms. We all know there's a list of symptoms. And, but yeah, I mean, the fear center in her brain was on 10, no matter what. And then you know, so, I mean, I actually just thought of something. It helps if you and your loved one, if you can just gracefully step out of life for a little bit, because we learned early on that just expectations, just the fact that we have like a niece getting married soon, and we've already made it very clear that we love you, we wish we'd be there, but we won't be. We'll be sending a gift, and just making that boundary or that decision now, and not waiting to see how she feels, because all it does is stress. It adds stress. And so anything you can do to alleviate that expectation, and it's simple things, you don't even realize it as a caregiver. I mean, it could be that I would put out ingredients to cook something, and there's days where I do that and she helps prepping,
Mm-hmm.
but there's days where she's in her chair waiting for a meal to be brought to her.
Yeah.
And that's how extreme it is. But I learned that you don't set out, because then she would see it and she goes, "Oh, you think I can help you today?" And I'm like, no, I'm just setting it out. It's got to soften or this. So I would get it like, no, what the hell? Why are you even thinking like that? I know better. But it's not her. Literally, she's like, "I feel like shit today. You should know that. And I cannot help you." And you putting that out there, it makes her feel, like she's a burden. And you don't want your loved one to feel like a burden, like, "Oh my God, all you do is cook for me, and now you're setting this out. You want me to prep?" No, I just. So
there's ups and downs, like you're saying.
Oh my God, it's a roller coaster,
like,
and you gotta.
You're so patient to just tolerate that, because I'm thinking about your nervous system now. I'm like, oh my God, he's walking on eggshells. I forget because I'm focused on the love today, but I know you've been on eggshells too. Like, oh my God, at any moment she could bite my head off and freak out. And I have to remind myself, like, that's not my wife right now. That's the, neuro emotion of when that happens, she's thinking, I wish I could do those things. I wish I could just be normal. I want to be normal.
She wants to be in life. Right. And then so as the caregiver, you got to remember that they feel, and then, there's days I love what I do for a living. So I go to the office, and then, there's days I come home from the office and there's some sous chefing going on. We joke around. I go, "You sous chef today," and they'll be out, because I'll ask her, "What, do you want this tonight or that tonight?" And then, and then it's like, I thank her. And again, it's for, it's been years, 3 years, almost 4 years. So again, you can't help but to start feel like, oh my God, my poor husband. And she does. And it's okay. We know what we got to do. We're all in. I mean, as a caregiver, I'm all in. But to say that it's been perfect and this has been my understanding and attitude from day one, no. I mean, we fought over a pumpkin pie. The ingredients were sitting out. I was going to do it. It was around Thanksgiving a couple years ago. And I'm like, they're setting out, so I remember to do it. It has nothing to do with, you. Again, if you want to help, I can't help. I'm sick. I'm like, well, again, so you just like.
You're just the patient of a saint. The patience of a saint.
No, I got mad. I mean, then we fought.
Of course.
But again, you can't do that. I mean, it's been a lot better the last year, but I mean, that's why I'm trying to tell a story. So
it's getting better and better, I think, as you go. So that brings up compassion fatigue and burnout. So this is not stating the obvious, but people in psychiatric drug withdrawal, people with injuries from medications, with akathisia, they're extremely needy. And I'm not saying that as a judgment. I'm saying that we are in such a fear state with such severe symptoms. Like, we need constant reassurance, validation, hope, like constantly. I mean, minute by minute sometimes. So like, how have you dealt with feeling burned out or just compassion fatigue, which means, you're giving so much of yourself. I do it as a coach. Like, I have to take purposeful breaks and just do nothing that has to do with mental health. I don't want to hear anybody talk. Like, how have you coped with this?
Well, like I said, I'm very lucky that I love what I do, and I'm an owner of an office. So with COVID, it's closed because I'm trying to keep Shelly safe. So we're remote working, but I can go to the office and literally I can have the radio on, or I have multiple screens, so I get at the radio or YouTube videos going, and I just draw and just do my job, and I get to be normal with my clients. They call, that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
I mean, not many people can probably say, oh, I go to work and that's my respite, but literally now I would look at my phone constantly for updates from Shelly,
Yes.
or answer it on the first ring? Yes, of course. But
Mhm.
I have a border collie and he's a jock. He plays volleyball, basketball.
Yeah.
I hit golf balls or, balls at like a golf club, and he'll
Yes.
grab. So he's my buddy. He's a lifesaver. So, and he is there for her too. So, I mean, but that's part of our routine, to do things with him and exercise him. So I'll take him he loves rides. So we'll go to parks and stuff, but, it's, and again, it's our house. I mean, I will go up to the loft and watch TV or just, but again, it is nonstop. They joke around. Do they always talk about benzos? Yes, they
Yeah,
do,
they do.
because they're scared to death and they
Yeah.
need reassurance. And did it annoy me more early on? Oh my gosh, did I need, we joke around. I mean, I'd go to the bathroom and on the back of the toilet would be a brand new book with dog ears and stars and highlights. And then I would read through that and then read the book. And then I would have my own report back to her on what you learned. And so, I mean, it's been quite a ride, but like I said, I know more about the human brain and healing than
I
I
know.
thought
You
I'd
could be a
know. So,
coach. Come on, let's
yeah.
go. No. You know probably as much as me or more. It's great.
Oh, no way.
You jumped
You have
in.
that experience that you went
Oh
through it
yeah,
and you're a
I lived it,
survivor.
but still,
Yeah.
it's amazing what you've done to kind of just embrace it. It's not fun. It's not an experience any of us want, but you've gone on all in. I think that's just a testament of your character too, just a beautiful person that you are. So
She's worth it.
yeah, she's worth it. That's it. All right. So last question, and then we're gonna bring Shelly on and see what she thinks about all we've been talking about. But what have you found most helpful? I think you touched on it earlier, but maybe just reiterate for anybody who came in late. What have you found helpful as resources in our community, as a caregiver, as a spouse? What has helped you the most, I guess?
Well, really the coaches. I mean, it's just amazing that these survivors, again, there's so many, if you're on the boards, which a lot of people are, of course, you don't see that many success stories. You see people heal and run. Like, I don't want to talk about this ever again. I don't want to see anything. I don't even want to be reminded to write a story or, relive it to write a story. So for a coach to survive this and come back and feel inclined to help as much as you guys do, it's just that is, and I know not everybody can afford coaching sessions, but you guys all have free stuff. Everybody has blogging. So the books that I mentioned earlier, the coaches, and then the most, like I said, you have your website and your Instagram, which is uplifting. I mean, the way you're out doing things. And then, like I said, Alyssa, Dr. Jen, Michael Freebie, Powers, all that. And they all have different books they've written or websites that they host. So that kind of stuff. And I was on a caregiver's, on Dr. Jen's caregiver website for a while. I was a member for about a year and, it wasn't like mornings with Jen, it was something else she did. And I would sit in and ask questions or discuss with other people when they had questions. So I did come up with kind of an acronym.
Yeah, let's hear that. I wanted to share that because I put it on my notes. Yeah, so what's your acronym?
It's just KISS, which most people think keep it simple, stupid. But I go keep it simple, stubborn, because I was like as stubborn as a mule. You could kick and pull and drag me. And at first I believed that the doctors were like, oh, it's out of their system, this, that. So, then it would be like, you didn't believe that it could be years, even though, it could be 6 months, it could be 18, but you gotta instantly simplify your life. So don't think, and it's going to be easier on you. It's going to be easier on your loved one if you simplify life, get help, delegate if you can. we have a small yard, and I'm like, I need the exercise, I'll just mow. But with everything else going on, cooking all the meals, working, keeping an office going, it took me, probably a couple months of her saying, you do too much, you're going to burn out. And now I don't know when I'll mow my lawn again, because we hired somebody, and it's kind of nice not having that to do. We talked to our family, and they started they took good care of Dad during this whole thing. It was less stress on us. So that was an example of delegating. And then my employees slash coworkers slash like family, I mean, we've been together for like 20 years. During COVID, they've done my meetings after, once we started running our business again. They've done everything that they could and above and beyond. I mean, it's amazing. So again, simplifying life as quick as possible and accepting help if you can get it. I mean, or just ask. I mean, you can't ask. You're not going to get it. Sometimes they don't know. She looks healthy, but it's an invisible illness. And so that's a big thing.
That's good. All right, Shelly, I know you're listening. Come on down.
Come on down.
We got a chair for you. Here she comes.
Hello.
Hi. What do you think about all that? What do you think about all that he said?
I couldn't really hear your questions, but I could hear him talking, and it just makes me want to cry. And I can't believe how lucky I am.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm glad you
I'm so
felt
lucky.
that. You are. Yeah.
I know not everybody has someone, but
I don't know about luck. I'm always like, is it really luck? I don't know, but it just is beautiful. Like the love you two have. It makes me cry. See, it makes me cry because I get to see this love. Like I always say, like the love is the strength inside of you, your resilience, your spirit. I don't know what it is. Some people call it God, some people call it universe, love, whatever word you want to use. I don't know. But like that is the healing force. You know what I mean?
right.
That's what
the human,
keeps you
the
alive.
human spirit.
Yeah.
I know, and you said that on a post on Instagram. Yeah, your Instagram posts are very uplifting, and thank you for everything you do, Angela.
Yeah.
You're just so involved in this community and a hard worker. It's amazing.
I feel like I don't do enough, but there's so much suffering. There's so
appreciate
much
you so
suffering. But
much.
thank you. I don't need the thanks, but I just thank you for sharing both of your stories. I just think it's beautiful. It's a testament of what's possible. You know what I mean? And it's hard. Just hearing you talk, Travis, I was thinking to myself, could I do it? Could I live in the same house with someone in withdrawal? Could I have lived with myself? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It was hard. Like, because I think a couple months ago, somebody asked me, I was in a support group for Mad in America talking to the parents. And one of the parents asked me, Angie, do you wish that somebody was with you? And I was like, no, it was horrible. No, I don't think I would want someone asking me, how are you doing? Are you okay? Are you okay? But so it's difficult. And could I rise to the occasion? That asks a lot of a person.
Right.
Well,
Like,
that's funny, because that's, another little side story is there were so many days she'd be like, you're annoying, you need to leave, you need to go find a place to live.
Yeah.
And I knew it was just but how personal, I mean, it's hard to hear that when you're giving. And again, I know she's suffering, but it's hard when you feel like you're doing everything you can, and I can't even imagine what she's going through, and I can't help her, even just giving her meals and stuff. It's just the basics. It's not, I gotta eat anyways. I mean,
Right.
people joke like, well, I'm cooking because I gotta eat too, but
right.
it's just, you can't take away the pain. But when you're getting yelled at that you're overstimulating, or you're even getting up in the morning saying, what do you want for breakfast? She'd be like, can't you just give me something?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
It's hard because you're so sick, you're irritable, and then I always feel horrible afterwards, and there's apologies. But yeah, you're so sick, you're so irritable, and you've lost control over your life. So it's almost like, I've worked in healthcare, so that you learn this learned helplessness in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it, but since you lose control, you get kind of angry, especially since it's going on, and I feel terrible afterwards, and I can't wait to get better to help other people, because I've been so needy, and I've needed so much help and been so dependent that I just want to, and my heart is grown, and it's so empathetic that I just want to turn around and give that to other people. And, I'd like to get better and at least be able to consistently get in a car and drive around and help in some way, a lot of people have been helping us out. It helped Travis so he can, you know, have a little bit of a break from all this.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that to happen. It's just, it's not who I am. It
I
changes you.
know.
And it's back and forth as far as the irritability. I mean, that's why we're glad we have an office that he can go to. So, and he's just only 15 minutes away. So if I start to have a change for the worse for the day, he can come home. But there's days I want him here. I mean, it seems to be with the mental symptoms more often, but when I feel better, I kind of want my space, and it's ebbed and flowed throughout this. It's back and forth because it's nonlinear.
Yeah.
And I feel bad afterwards in the evening. Like, I'm so sorry, you know, he tucks me into bed and I'm like, I feel terrible. I want to help him. And I still try to, you know, so I don't feel like a burden. We've made it so I still have things that I do on a routine. If I'm really bad, he helps out, but that hasn't been really the case in a while. Luckily, you know, I'm further in, so I'm healed more, but I still have limitations that are terrible. But you know, I make the bed, I clean the dog doo-doo in the yard. I will prep the cook if I can. I done stuff for the business as much as I can, ordered, you know, like made logo things. We did some sponsoring, some festivals in the summer, which I was glad I could participate in. And I didn't go to them. It was just, you know, having a sign and stuff. But and we're vulnerable, especially doing this during a pandemic. And you know, people have real huge issues like cancer during this pandemic and surgeries, and I feel so bad, you know, it's a lot. And you're so vulnerable. The sooner you're humble and you ask for help, the better. You just got it as soon as you can help figure out what's going on, because for the first 9 months of this, I didn't even know it was a benzo injury too. I didn't know. And the benzo injury, I think, is what led me to have Reglan harm me so bad. Reglan's a harsh drug to begin with. There's people who have big problem. It has black label for movement disorder, tardive dyskinesia. It also causes akathisia. That's not on the black label, but it does. And I kind of lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. But no, and that's really important here, because I'm so big on patient information. Like, you have to educate yourself. So just so everybody knows, Reglan is a drug they give when you go to the emergency room for a migraine. Usually it's in a cocktail. It's Reglan, Toradol, or, you know, what's the other one? Benadryl. And then they give you an MRI, and then they tell you you're fine. They might give you an IV of fluid. So it's a very common drug that's used. Usually they don't even tell you. They just inject you with it and you're out the door. So everybody should know that ahead of time and be, you know, well aware, because I see injuries like this all the time. It's not just benzos or antidepressants. It could be one Zoloft pill, you know, just, it doesn't take long-term use all the time. So yeah, I just want to bring that up. But I have a question for you. Well, wait, before I get to that,
they also use Reglan for gastroparesis too, and for morning sickness. So then you have these mothers with these crazy symptoms.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, my brain was already in tolerance withdrawal. So when I got that drug, bam. I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt you, but yeah, I just
no, good. I want to,
Off-label uses, and it's crazy because it's such a destructive drug.
Yeah, the off-label use is a migraine cocktail, but the mornings, the gastroparesis is really what. But it actually, if you look at the history, it was initially an antipsychotic, and so was compazine.
Yeah, which is what's the other name for compazine? Hold on.
But well, there's Phenergan too. I can't think
Phenergan. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Metoclopramide.
Reglan's generic name is
metoclopramide.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So be careful with the drugs you're administered. You should be informed before you get injected with it. But anyway, how would you know that was going to happen to you? Obviously. But you brought up a point. I want to talk about this really quick. It's like your brain is hijacked and you become this mean version of yourself. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have done it myself. I have ruined friendships. I have burned bridges that I'm not proud of. I used to say really mean things on Facebook. It's like, I was never a mean person. Never. I mean, you can feel it now. I'm intense because of my experiences that I've been through. I am an intense person, but it's like something hijacks your brain and you become a monster. And then your loved one gets the brunt of that and feels that. So Shelly, just from your point of view as a sufferer, so that the caregivers that are listening understand this, maybe from your point of view, from a sufferer's point of view, tell me what that's like.
What it's like to not be yourself?
Yes.
I just feel guilty. while, I mean, I don't understand why. I feel like it should be obvious. Can't you see I feel that? I feel not good. And he can't. He's like, I wish you'd have a light on your head. Green is go, red is stop, let's chill out. And I wish I've let go of friendships because I was too sick to maintain them. I mean, I literally changed the message on my voicemail, not that I get any phone calls really, saying that I'm in a long-term illness. I can't take your call. Here's my husband's phone number. And that was on my voicemail for over, a few years. So he was like the gatekeeper for me. And I wanted to maintain friendships. I would try, but even talking on the phone, my ears pop and stuff because I have hypercusis. So I couldn't be a friend. I was just too sick to be a friend. I do remember intolerance, being grouchy with people. And in hindsight, I was like, and I would talk about it with Travis, like, remember when this happened? I think I went a little overboard with it. I don't know if I've harmed any friendships. I'm sure it doesn't help when somebody says, I'm just too sick to hang out or talk on the phone or anything. But I don't like, I can't wait to get better. And when I do feel better, I try to smile all the time. And it probably doesn't look that way, but I try really hard to be a person who's giving to make up for when I've been difficult.
Yeah.
It's
hard. It's like you're not yourself, and your brain and body is hijacked by all these chemicals that are screwed up, or whatever it is that our injury is that nobody understands. You know what I mean? It definitely changes you, and it's not under your control. It's not that you're doing it on purpose. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You're not, hard.
They're not doing it on purpose. I mean, they're so sick and they don't feel good, and it's so constant. It wears you down. And unfortunately it gets transferred to the person you're depending on.
And it still doesn't, I mean, knowing that, it still was difficult, because even like she said about the light on her head, then she'd be like, well, it should be obvious, and I'm like, no,
can't you see I can't walk here? Hold on.
Yeah,
to me.
he cannot read your mind. Caregivers
it's like
cannot.
He had now he has a 90-year-old wife. I mean, it's that bad. I got a cane, and can't go anywhere. That's bizarre to explain to people when you get that sick and you're neighborhood bound or house bound. That happens for periods. It goes on for a few months sometimes. Yeah. So it's what is it like to be an irritable person when you're sick?
It's terrible.
I'm glad that we heal, and I'm glad that we get better. So when we are able to return the favor to people, we can. I think there's a silver lining in this. I know there is. I hold on to that. I hold on to the gifts that we earn through this suffering. And there's days, I swear, I feel so good. I hear angelic music in my head. It's not a hallucination. It's just emotions.
Yeah. Yes.
And I'm like, oh my God, everything is so beautiful. I can't wait to love people. And when they're sick, because he was the sick one, kind of, and I was helping him. I mean, so for the roles to be reversed, it feels like I'm like, who the hell is this person?
I know.
He was hospitalized with a staph infection, and he came home, I packed the wound, and it healed up really good. And I just, actually, when we got discharged, the person wheeling us out to the parking lot said, don't come back till you're 90. And then he's like, you guys are young, The PA taking care of his case is like, you're my youngest patient. And she wheeled us out. She's like, you guys are healthy and young. Don't come back till you're 90. And I would have never thought.
No.
And I was already taking them then, I think. Right. I can't remember 100%. But, and we need to get awareness out there too. I know everybody's working hard to do that. And I think that akathisia, not everybody gets akathisia in this, but I think a lot of people do get different versions of it. I think it needs to be a common word that's even known in the medical world. I don't think even doctors, I mean, I went to the ER with a high heart rate during this, and the nurses were like, how do you spell that? Because they were charting and they didn't even know what it was. And
I know
there's so many people on psychotropic meds, the antidepressants, the benzodiazepines, the antipsychotics, that they should know. They need to recognize akathisia. When I went to my physician's appointment, when this started happening, before I even got the Reglan, like a week or two before, I'd be like, something is wrong with me. And I was sitting in the doctor's office with my appointment, and the PA said, I can't even sit in this chair. I mean, it's hard for me to sit here now. I'm kind of wobbly, but I get used to it. But I'm like, I can't even sit here. It was worse then. And she didn't realize it was akathisia. It wasn't visual, but the feeling like you're going to fall out of the chair or you can't sit still. And she said, you need to take your Ativan more. And I'm so glad I didn't. I'm so glad
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't know what told me not to, but so I had not taken it for a month. So I was definitely in withdrawal by the time I got regular and my brain was vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right. So I have two last questions. The first one is quickly, I'm going to rephrase everything that Travis said about some tips for caregivers. So believe in the healing, go all in, educate yourself. You remind your loved one about health and healing and the good times and the healing that has progressed up until now. Constant reassurance, keep it simple, stubborn, your acronym, simplify life as much as possible. I heard him say this, but he didn't say it directly, but you kind of have to let things roll off. Like try not to accumulate the hurts and know that it's not your loved one that, it's talking to you, it's their injury. Put life on pause as much as possible. Ask for help wherever you can. Delegate things. What advice did I miss? And what do you have to fill in, Shelly, from your point of view?
He did a really good job.
I feel like this is a book. You need to write a book, Travis. You're
I'm
next.
not, well, I need
He
help.
said that. He's like, I could write a book about this when I talk
You're
to
next.
people.
Yeah.
Let me think. What else?
Anything from your point of view?
Or
what have you found most helpful from him?
What have I found most helpful from Travis? That when I can hug him and cry on his shirt till it's wet. Because when you are really heightened and you have a lot of symptoms, and I call it white knuckling it, where those days where just sitting in a chair isn't even comfortable. I don't want to scare anybody. I mean, things have improved a lot. So there's a lot of things that have improved. So I don't want to, it's not acute. I don't want to scare people who are in acute. When you get to this point, I think a lot of people don't want to, it's not like this every day. It starts to fade. It starts to decrease. It starts to be less frequent.
Yes.
But being able to have somebody there to have a meltdown with is kind of nice. And he's got a strong shoulder for it. It was rough in the beginning, but Travis by nature is a pretty easygoing person. He's a loving person. He's been giving in his life before I even met him. That's just his personality. I think if you're a caregiver, think about yourself. If you were in this situation, when you want somebody to take care of you and love you like this, because we're not, we're all going to be sick. We're humans. We're all vulnerable at some point in our life.
Yes.
So I think that's huge. When you get aggravated, go out into the garage and scream. We have a detached garage. Mm-hmm. If you're a caregiver, go out there and scream. And I tell him to do that. And he's like, but I don't need to. I'm like, I don't know. I think you do. Take the dog for a ride more, whatever, or have somebody to talk to about it. The caregiver should, as far as respite goes, have, he's talked to his clients. They've been really helpful. And of course, our employees have been great, which are like family. Family's been great. So he has to have somebody to talk to about it. He's even had a coaching session with you.
Yeah, I was going to say,
he to do that because I get worried. I'm like, I don't want you to burn out.
You got to get it out. It's hard. This is the hardest job. Oh my gosh.
And I don't want him to burn out. So I myself try to, when I'm doing well, I cut his hair for him. We've had to learn to do that during COVID. We become very resourceful people. Mm-hmm. We're not going to the barber or the beauty salon. He like colors my hair in the back. I cut his hair.
Nice.
It's fun, it's loving.
We make it, the simple things we have fun doing because
love it.
But our marriage was like that. We were very into our, my husband is my life. That's how we were. That was always the priority. I think that helps. You got to have that strong love there. You said that, love heals, and it does. I mean, if it really made my receptors upregulate, they would have been regulated already.
Oh yeah.
So, and you got to be admit you're vulnerable, get used to it, and ask for help. Be humble. When somebody offers help, take it.
Yeah.
And do it as soon as possible. Just not knowing for 9 months what was really going on. It was hard. I mean, we went to a Halloween party and I had a glass of wine. I should have never done that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was in withdrawal. I was in acute withdrawal.
Yeah.
Finding out as soon as you can is important.
Yeah. So I always like to end on hope. That is the name of the game. So I want to know from both of you, like, what are you looking forward to? What gives you hope? What keeps you going? What do you have to say about hope?
I can't wait to go on a golf course. I did in July, but it made me sick.
Okay.
We tried. It was so fun. I can't wait to golf with him on a golf course. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to have all this knowledge I've learned from this and be even a better person. I'm already there. I mean, you already get there. The silver lining kicks in. So I can't wait to be like, just to spread this love I've learned and the big heart you grow, and, you know, be like a person for someone else to lean on. And I've seen so many people heal because I've been in the community for 4 years. I've held hands with people who've crossed the river. They're on the other side, and all of them are. And if they're not there yet, they've made huge improvements. I've never seen anybody not heal or get better. I swear to God, I have not. So it is very hopeful. It is very positive. We're going to be better people on the other side. You're going to be a better person already. And the people that I've held hands with, that I've, you know, on Benzo buddies, or, you know, I've had some people emailing me outside of this who, it's so amazing, the human spirit and how human beings can help each other. And to do this during a pandemic is just mind blowing. I've seen people, I'm like, maybe I'm still sick because of the pandemic, but I'm like, I've seen people heal during surgery, taking an antibiotic and having a little bit of a setback, or not at all. There's people, I'm like, I went to the dentist, nothing happened. You know, I didn't have a problem with I did, and I'm talking about other people. Some were like, I didn't have any problem with anesthesia at the dentist, the anesthetic. And I'm like, wow, you know, you got to be careful though. So I just, they've had setbacks. They've had a baby. I know somebody who had a baby, had to finish nursing school and become an RN during a pandemic, or an LPN, I can't remember which. Just, and they're so heroic and they're so admirable, and everyone has gotten better and everybody has healed. And it's so beautiful. And I have a whole life is just so much more beautiful on the other side. And I'm not even there yet. You're closer than you've ever been, though. You really are close. You know, I want people to know that. Don't be scared that she's 4 years out. She is making, you know, just say it. Huge progress. On average, I only have, like, if it's a bad month, I have like 9 crappy days, 9 or 10.
But it's a couple hours a day.
It's a couple of hours, maybe 4 hours a day. And I'm not in the bed. I'm not in the bed anymore. I'm not like that. I spend a lot of time resting in the recliner because you still have to rest. I still get tired. So I don't want people to get hung up on, oh my God, 4 years. There's a lot of people that take a long time. And and there's a lot of people who don't. There's a lot of people who don't. Absolutely. But if you start getting that towards that direction, don't be afraid. You're not the only one. There are people who are protracted who make it. You're one of them. Jennifer Lee took a long time, but again, not in acute the whole time. Where there's setbacks that were like, wow, this is really crappy. And you're like, wow. And that is a symptom in itself. Travis, from you, Travis, where is the hope? What keeps you going? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, all the story, your story, Dr. Jen's story, all the stories of the coaches, but all the community stories. I mean, I'm not suffering. So I always tell her I have all the faith in the world, because she'll say right now all strong, like I believe, but when she's having a shitty day, she's like, she's instantly on the board. I saw someone XYZ that had XYZ timeline. I'm like, live your story. That's why Melissa says, stay in your story. Don't. And you say that too, stay in your experience. Yeah, you got to stay in your story. So I just see all of your stories and I know that you healed. So I'll have my wife back. It's close. We have our moments. Yeah. Awesome. We have fun. So, but awesome. Healing is real. That's for sure. That's what I would say. It's the only reason. Journal your good days, so you know it'll come back. It's temporary. I ask clients to videotape themselves, like do a little video and remember your good days, you know. That's great advice. But thank you for letting me witness your healing, because I find it to be like a sacred gift that I get to watch the love between you two. You know what I mean? Thank you for letting me see that. And that's why I do this, because I see this healing and this love all the time. And, you know, for the average person in a Facebook group who just feels they're suffering and might not have someone supporting them, or you all hang on to each other. I know I've made best friends out of healing buddies and withdrawal, people that I found online. We called each other, we sent voice messages all day long, every day for years, some of us, you know. So you just find that love where you can find it. If you don't have it in your home, I don't want you to be downtrodden by that. Like, it is in the community. There's tons of people there willing to help you for free.
that are going through the same thing you are, and you will build friendships that you'll never forget. I visit these people, you know, I've been best friends with a couple of them for 7 years and went through the whole thing with them. So it's there. So the love is there, the resilience of the human spirit, the hope, there is a silver lining. You know, I wish we never had to experience any of this, but it is there. We do get gifts at the end.
Yeah.
So thank you. Any last
Thank
words?
you.
Do you have any last words?
I love my husband.
Oh,
I love my wife.
I'm so glad. I mean, there are times I've wondered, is it better to drag somebody else through this? But you know, what we're going to get, what we get on the days I feel good, and what we're going to get in the end is just going to make our marriage even stronger. It's going to make a relationship stronger. It already is.
It's going to be so easy after this. You're not going to know what to do with yourself. You might just like fight on purpose or something, like, we're so bored. What do we do now? No, let's go travel. Let's go travel. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. People in the audience. I don't think we had any questions. Everybody was just saying, I just scanned the comments. They were saying, this is so precious. I love this, guys. Thank you so much for sharing. That's what people were saying. So if
Travis has a soothing voice to begin with. He sounds like Michael, Sarah, Frosty the Snowman, and Winnie the Pooh. It helps, you know. You got to get that soothing voice about you. He's like that naturally.
Yeah, so I'm sure Shelly can go back and read the comments, or Travis can answer. So if you have questions or comments, leave them below, even on YouTube if there's any. But thank you both for just being here and sharing your story and sharing your love with everybody here. I know we felt it, and just thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Thanks for all you do.
Yep. All right. So goodbye to everybody in the audience. Next week we have a health coach going to talk about health, nutrition, sleep, and the week after that we're going to have a success story. My friend Erin, who went through chemo, benzo injury, and healed from all of it, and is a trauma-informed yoga teacher. So we have 3 good weeks of interviews in a row, and then we're going to have, this is my first time announcing it, there's going to be a 5-part series with the the Alliance for Benzodiazepine Best Practices. That's coming in April. So be here. If not, we'll see you on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend, all of you.
You too.
Thanks. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Bye.